you head outside right now, it's around the Great Lakes in western New York, where there has been a pretty persistent band of snow just north of Syracuse. Cold air coming in behind it, similar to what's coming next. This is the next system. By midweek, there's going to be another front out ahead of that. Will be some rain showers, maybe a little bit heavier rain at times across parts of Texas for the middle of the week. And then behind that, a little bit of snow. With the front, some wind could make things a little tricky, especially high-profile vehicles. Here's the forecast. The areas that could see up to about an inch of rain in the lighter green, darker green, maybe an inch, possibly 2 inches. That would have to be a couple of thunderstorms, most likely there. So that's Wednesday through Thursday. The timing for this looks like this. There's going to be rain and a few thunderstorms by Wednesday night. Thursday, across parts of Texas, a similar deal. Still going to be dealing with a little bit of that into Louisiana, South Louisiana, still on Thanksgiving evening, and then into Mississippi and Georgia and the Carolinas again. So these are pretty fast-moving systems, but systems nonetheless. So it's all about the timing of when it's going to come through. Now, when the next one comes through, for a lot of people, it's going to be, hopefully, at a time where you're already where you're at. Right, where you want to be. We're always at where we're at, right? But it's where you want to be by Wednesday night and then on Thanksgiving and then into Thanksgiving evening. Rain and snow is what we're thinking in the areas in purple. When we see a little bit of blue on the map, that's straight snow. But similar to what we've seen a lot with these systems, when the cold air comes in to change things over to snow, it's usually drier air as well, with the exception of that cold air picking up some of the moisture from the Great Lakes and dropping it downstream a little bit into New York and Pennsylvania. So here's our forecast from the middle of the week into Friday. What you can expect, generally less than an inch. Might see an inch, 2, 3. The areas where you get some bands that set up at a little bit higher elevation could be 3 to 5 inches of snow. Now, as far as the rain goes, around an inch, up to an inch, I should say. So we're not going to be dealing with a lot. Some areas getting 1/4 of an inch, 4/10 of an inch. So it's not going to be a ton of rain, but it'll be enough to get the roads wet. If there's a lot of people on the roads on Wednesday, it just makes things just that much more difficult for driving. But fortunately, not a massive blockbuster storm at this point. Tevin?
Okay, Chris, so not a blockbuster storm, but it still can cause some delays out there. And that is why we are asking you at home what the longest delay you've seen as you take it to the airport and you headed to the airport and take it to the Friendly Skies. What's the longest delay you've seen due to weather? And let's get to your poll responses here. About 11% of folks saying less than an hour. Heck, you guys are lucky compared to some of the other folks here. More than 1/4 of folks are saying 2 to 5 hours. About 15% are saying 5 to 8 hours. And then this is the face I would make once we get to 8 hours. It's like about 47% of the folks are actually saying 8 hours or more for the delays. Erica says about 10 years ago when she was stuck in Salt Lake City, she actually had to be rerouted to Sacramento. Her luggage was in one spot. She was in another. Robert's also saying the longest his flight has been delayed was basically a day. He said he just called his family. He talked a little bit, slept at the airport some, and then also play some games on his phone. What about you guys, Jackie and Chris? Your longest delay, and what did you do to pass the time away?
Chris says he has no delay.
Chris says he has no delay. Okay.
Right, so I've had a couple, right? I
Sure.
travel a lot, but the large majority of my flights are always good. So I'm going to give you a tip instead.
Let's
If
go.
you are delayed, be very nice to the gate agent.
Oh, yeah,
The
true.
gate agent has the power. You do not have the power. And everyone's yelling at them. So if you are nice to them, take a moment, let them breathe, and just know that they're a human being.
If they get in trouble, it's like what?
It's not their fault. It's not their fault.
If they could fix the issue very quickly, they easily would, I'm sure. Everybody would be on the plane if they could help it, but obviously they're doing this. Jackie, you said this is a great point last hour. They're doing it for your safety as well, and there's a reason they can't take off. So, just for the karma thing here, I've had weather delays, right? Have you? Yes. It's nothing that's like 8 hours or, you're sleeping at night or anything like that at the airport.
Well, I'm glad you do not have nightmare stories. Most of us don't. All right. We want to give you a forecast. If your destination is New York City, we've got the Macy's Parade coming up, of course, on Thursday. Look at this. Looks really good. It's going to be a little chilly. If you're watching it outside, you're going to need to bundle up. Temperatures in the 40s, but the winds are calm, so the balloons should fly.
Ideas and